2.
For our explainer video this week, we were asked to take 2 procedures from our week 2 PowerPoint presentation. So I selected retesting and vocabulary notebooks. So in my classroom, I'm going to have a retesting policy. This retesting policy allows students who have done poorly on a test to have another chance. While there's very strict guidelines requiring them to do certain things, such as tell me what they used to study, why they got the grade they did, and create a plan to study for the next exam. To bar students from abusing this privilege, I let students use it once a quarter, so a total of 4 times a year. And while the procedure for doing it, you have to fill out the form, this is where a lot of students, it's going to weed out those students who just want the easy fix, because the form requires you to not only fill it out and submit it to me within a week, but it also requires a parent signature. This strategy involves looking at students and helping them really see that I care about their success. Everybody has a bad day. Everyone needs an opportunity to have a do-over. Even as adults, we wish there were days that we could do stuff over. So some of the rewards that go along with this is, yeah, they can raise their test grade. A student raising their test grade like this is a huge bolster to self-confidence, self-esteem, and shows them better test-taking strategies, how to more effectively study. So the next test, they do get a great grade on it the first time around. Some of the consequences, well, your parents know exactly what grade you got and you can't hide it. In addition to that, you're only allowed to do it once a quarter. So for students who are really struggling as a whole and not just having 1 or 2 bad days, but having a bad week or 2 weeks or unit, this isn't going to help them. This is a Band-Aid for those students. It needs to have a bigger kind of look at what they're doing. In terms of the vocabulary notebook, this is a technique that I'll be using in my classroom. As a history teacher, concepts are extremely important. My vocabulary notebook is a notebook that I provide to each of my students. It's nothing that they have to purchase on their own. The notebook has vocabulary in the front, and in the back, ideas, people, and places. At the beginning of each unit, I will give the students a list of vocabulary, ideas, people, places, the things that they need to put in their notebook. At the beginning of the school year, I'm going to tell them, these are some different strategies in which to use that notebook. You can pre-learn. Go through the list and write down everything and do all your definitions as we start a unit, the first day I give it to you. That way you have an idea of the things that we're learning about for the unit. Second suggestion would be to do it as the unit progresses. Napoleon's on your list, and today we learned about Napoleon. Go ahead and fill in that spot in your notebook. The third suggestion is that you can do it at the end as a means to review for your exam. Now, vocabulary notebooks will be collected on the day of the exam. If you've done your words, it's an easy 100 to help bolster your grade. If you haven't, it's a 0. The consequences and rewards for this, well, beyond the obvious, the reward of studying and knowing effectively what these terms are will help a student get a better grade. The consequence, not only the bad grade right then, and maybe not the greatest grade on their test, but additionally, here in New York State, we have a Regents exam. This Regents exam is a comprehensive year-long exam. So by keeping up on this vocabulary notebook throughout the year, they will have an amazing test reference to study for at the end of the year for the Regents exams. When looking at these 2 examples of procedures that I'd like to implement in my classroom, they really do define and enhance a culture of community. With these 2 items, my students know that my goal is exactly their success. My goal for them is not only for them to succeed, but to have the highest level of achievement. Now, there's challenges to creating this culture of community that I want. Educational research is divided on the concept of retesting. Some people are firmly against it, saying that students need to understand consequences, while some people are firmly for it by showing that it really improves a student's morale. And in terms of technology, I think this promotes not only a community, but an authentic level of learning in my classroom. Using technology, I can provide a stream of engagement, information, and communication to my students, both inside my classroom and outside my classroom. This is a benefit to both my students and to their parents. By having that stream of consciousness, of engagement, whether it's communications or information, it allows me to really keep a pulse on my students and have a better handle on what they know and what they don't know. Having a wonderful culture of community within a classroom is a difficult task, but it's a task that every educator needs to have, and it starts on day one. Start on day one, explain your procedures fully, make sure your students have an expectation and an understanding, and it's an achievable goal for every educator.